Good morning. It is Tuesday, July the 13th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is a CBC Morning Report. Leading our news this morning, the COVID-19 monitoring unit is defending its decision to close down at least 2 establishments on the West Coast for breach of protocols over the weekend. According to the head of the unit, Ronald Chapman, 2 Whole Town businesses were cited for overcrowding and having patrons who were wearing masks inappropriately. He told the Morning Report that despite criticism of their action in some quarters, it was the right call. He went on to say that the unit has evidence to support the move to close down these establishments where the owners had been previously warned.
Is according to what my officers would have found at the time, the reports we had, that there was overcrowding and there was improper and non-wearing a mask. In fact, there was one establishment, we didn't close it, but because this was their more or less a first time warning, persons did not have on their masks, they were standing together, and we have footage of people dancing and so on. Now, in all these cases, we take footage where we go, so that I know that on social media, some people say different things, but at the end of the day, we do have footage of the establishments and the goings on of the establishments.
Now, as part of their mandate to protect the health of the wider public, Ms. Chapman has made clear that the monitoring unit will continue clamping down on establishments like clubs and bars, churches and places where people gather. He says the recent spike in COVID-19 cases and clusters linked to a St. Michael church and business are clear indicators for the unit's adoption of a zero-tolerance approach.
I know that in the social media, again, in social media, persons were saying, well, hey, this was 33 of those were in a church. If this isn't a church, why are you targeting bars and targeting this place and the next place and the third place? Mm-hmm. I would caution people that in the first lockdown, we had a number of bars which we could have attributed where our contact tracing led us back to. So it does, when you're managing risk, you can't sit down and wait for it to happen and then take action. You have to take action to prevent it happening.
The mental health of people has been on the radar since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, but one Barbadian Brit is paying special attention to Black mental health through his organization, Black Mentors Matter. Now, Ruben Walren is in Barbados for a visit and has been reaching out to those in need of a listening ear. The mentor, who gave up his corporate career to pursue counseling, told CBC News that Blacks tend to keep situations private no matter how bad they hurt. But if more people were around to talk it through, the incidence of mental health, according to him, and those cases would not be as high.
We start from children 4 years and up, and it goes right through adulthood, yeah? You encounter a lot of these bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, suicidal antics, anxiety, depression, stress disorder, whole heap, but we target primarily the Blacks because we realize that in England, that is the big problem. Blacks do not talk. They don't want to talk to their brother, talk to their sister, talk to their mom, their dad. They don't talk. And this is what we're trying to break, that stigma.
One individual who recently met up with Walren was Donna Hines, who started to experience some mental health challenges after the death of a friend.
See you walking around and moving about and stuff like that, but they don't understand what you're hiding behind all of that. So you have a big smile on your face, but behind you're hiding a lot of emotional stress and a lot of stuff that's going on that you wouldn't care to tell everybody because they wouldn't understand. And then you have to deal with it from all kinds of levels: family, friends, work. So it takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally.
Look at the COVID-19 numbers, still in the double digits here in Barbados. Ten new COVID-19 cases, 5 males and 5 females, were identified on Sunday, July the 11th. And this is from 590 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. There are currently 64 people in isolation, and Barbados has now recorded 4,186 confirmed cases of COVID-19 since the pandemic began in March last year. 48 people have now died from the virus. The number of tests carried out by the Public Health Lab stands at 194,896. Public health officials have administered 96,212 first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine under the National Vaccination Program, and a total of 72,606 people are fully vaccinated. That figure represents 26.8% of the population. Going further afield now, France has implemented new measures to encourage skeptics to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Let's take a look.
Well, Emmanuel Macron said that vaccination is the only way out of the health crisis. The message in his speech was pretty much that people in France need to go out and get vaccinated. Now, about 40% of the population have been immunized, but Emmanuel Macron says that is simply not enough to get out of this health emergency. So he announced a series of measures to encourage people to get vaccinated. One of them, in fact, is going to be mandatory vaccinations for health workers who work with particularly vulnerable people. So people who work in care homes, for example, or in hospitals will have to be vaccinated by September. There will be controls and checks, said Macron, to make sure that they are properly immunized. The government will also extend its so-called COVID certificate, its national COVID certificate. So this is the application on people's phones or on a piece of paper that shows whether or not somebody has been vaccinated fully or shows whether or not they have a negative PCR test. That certificate will now be necessary for people to go to a restaurant, to go to a bar, to go to a theatre, or to go to a concert, or even catch a train in France from August. So a lot stricter measures. all designed, of course, to try and curb what we've seen over the past few weeks, and that is a rise in COVID-19 cases fueled by the Delta variant. Emmanuel Macron making it very clear that this variant is highly contagious. It's much easier to catch. It's much easier to pass on. And the health minister in France just a few days ago said that if this variant continues to circulate at the rate at which it is circulating in France, we could see as many as 20,000 cases a day by August. That is something, of course, the government want to prevent and want to stop. And that is why Emmanuel Macron is saying more restrictions are needed. People need to be more vigilant. And as I said, his top line really is, his message to the French people is really go and get vaccinated.
Meanwhile, across the English Channel, the United Kingdom is pressing ahead with lifting most of its COVID-19 restrictions by next Monday.
So-called Freedom Day for England is going ahead as planned on July 19th, bringing freedom from legal restrictions, but not from COVID-19 cases, which are on the rise. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is rebranding the moment, asking people to move forward with caution, not reckless abandon.
This disease, coronavirus, continues to carry risks for you and your family. We cannot simply revert instantly from Monday the 19th of July to life as it was before COVID. We will stick to our plan to lift legal restrictions and to lift social distancing.
The changes will see nightclubs and big performance venues reopen, pub and bar table restrictions and customer limits abandoned, and the 1 metre social distancing rule scrapped. Workers will no longer be encouraged to work from home, and face masks will be recommended but not compulsory. But a number of top scientists are concerned, saying the government's decision is not based on scientific evidence and is dangerous and premature.
The basic principle of managing an outbreak is that you impose restrictions whenever cases are going up and you remove them whenever you're in a sustained downward trajectory. We seem to be doing the opposite.
And the public is divided.
Going to be good for the whole country, I reckon. Yeah, I think people need a bit of a morale lifter. We've been in lockdown for a long time.
I believe they're just thinking about the economy, and I think we're going to end up in another lockdown again.
The UK has suffered one of the highest death tolls from COVID-19 and on Monday recorded 34,000 new infections. But the government says a successful rollout of the vaccines has broken the link between cases and hospitalizations, while scientists say it has merely been weakened.
Scrapping all restrictions in the face of rising infection rates is a gamble, but the government is caught between a rock and a hard place. If it delays, it could potentially push a third wave further down the line, hitting in winter when the health service is already under seasonal strain. But the risks of many people now developing long COVID are real. This is Britain as it enters a new chapter of learning to live with COVID-19.
Well, we'll watch how the UK manages that situation there, but let's hear from Pearson now what's happening on today's edition of Morning Barbados. Pearson?
Good morning, Shane. Good morning, everyone. When you join me here on Morning Barbados, you would recall in 2003, Philip Alves, with his oars, rowed his way into the Guinness Book of Records, becoming the first Barbadian to cross the Atlantic. He'll join us this morning as he takes on a new expedition to share with us what that expedition is about. We'll also today meet the writer and director of a new short that just premiered at the LA Shorts Film Festival. The excitement around that is still very charged. And it's the summer or rainy season, and in our pediatric care segment, our favourite paediatrician, Dr. Gillian Birchwood, will join us to share with us how we can protect our children at this time. Those are just a few of what we'll be sharing with you when you join me here on Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. And yet another appeal to local landlords to help those displaced in the aftermath of Hurricane Elsa. You'll hear about that right after this break. A reassurance this morning for landlords who are prepared to offer their properties to help residents displaced by Hurricane Elsa that they need not worry about being compensated. It is coming from the Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Cynthia Ford.
The commitment has come from the Ministry of Finance under the stewardship of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Minister Strawn, and of course the Economic Affairs Minister, Minister Marsha Kettle. They have all already agreed and made arrangements through the Cabinet to ensure that persons who come on board and share their households with us through the rentals and so on, they do not have to worry about funds at all. The funds will be made available in a timely and as timely a fashion as possible to help people to be able to fill those properties and to make the difference in the lives of those who have been displaced.
The Barbados Private Sector Association says it's not surprised that government has reintroduced curfew and other restrictions against the background in the recent spike in COVID-19 cases. Now, the chairman of the BPSA, Edward Clark, has acknowledged that any decreased time due to the new restrictions will also mean reduced operational hours for businesses. However, he also understands why the new measures are necessary.
Certainly, we are disappointed that this had to happen. It is clear that Barbadians have let down their guard in certain aspects of business, and obviously now in the churches it would seem as well. And we need to get back to where we used to be. We need to ensure that all these protocols are being enforced in our business places. But as Barbadians in general, we need to ensure that we have our own management of our protocols at home and our community. These things don't start in the businesses, these things start elsewhere. But it only needs one person to bring it into the business, and then the bad habits will spread. So we need to ensure we follow our protocols within the business environment, but even more so outside of the business environment.
Cubans have been marching to protest against food shortages and high prices amid the coronavirus crisis in one of Cuba's biggest ever anti-government demonstrations. Whilst some commentators are reading the protests as a cry for economic help, in Cuba they are seeing the bottom line as getting freedom from a dictatorship.
What the people of Cuba have been saying is that these policies put in place are hurting us. And so with the stroke of a pen, the U.S. president does have the power to change things and improve things, and appears to be refusing to do so. And so repeatedly, reporters asked the White House press secretary about this. She insisted that humanitarian assistance has been provided, but the reason for the protests is not economic, but instead about the type of governance and mismanagement, seeming to miss the point of the protests or refusing to acknowledge the reality that people are expressing.
The people is chanting freedom, is chanting down with the dictatorships in the streets. The people is not asking for food. The people is asking for freedom repeatedly. They asked for freedom yesterday by thousands, probably tens of thousands across the island. We have confirmed at least 45 cities and towns where the people were in the streets demanding the end of the dictatorship with those words, of course, including all the major cities, including Havana. And what we expect from the world is not to feed on what the Cuban communist regime propaganda is trying to propagate, but to listen to what the Cuban people is demanding in the streets. And the screams are very clear, and those are for freedom and for the end of the dictatorship.
But so if you want the international community not to listen to the regime in Cuba, but to listen to the people themselves, are you satisfied with what President Biden is doing? Because presumably he is listening and says that he stands by the Cuban people.
Well, we appreciate those words as a very good first steps, but now President Biden, the European Union, the countries and the member states of the OAS, everybody has the responsibility to support that demand. And the demand is the end of the dictatorship. Everybody has the responsibility also to protect, at least within the inter-American system, all the states have the responsibility to protect the right to democracy of all the peoples of the Americas. And the Cuban people is asking for that freedom, is asking for that democracy, because everybody, everyone in Cuba and the Cuban nation lives inside and outside the island. Everybody understands that to get out of the crisis, we need to end the dictatorship.
A sad story coming out of Guyana this morning, where police are investigating the death of an 18-month-old baby girl who allegedly drowned in a bucket of water after she had been left at home by her mother late on Sunday. Police said that Ordina August of Pottsville, Kwakwani, that's Kwakwani, near the Berbice River, had been left with her two older siblings, ages 7 and 15, by their mother, Amanda Wills, to attend a funeral. However, a few hours later, the baby was found lying head down in a bucket of water. She was pulled out by the 7-year-old who raised the alarm. The child was subsequently rushed to a hospital nearby, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. Police said that no marks of violence were seen on the body and that foul play is not suspected at this time. In sports, some more good news for the Windies as Chris Gayle finally came good last night. The Windies took an unassailable lead in their T20 series against Australia. They defeated the visitors by 6 wickets to take a 3-0 series lead in the 5-match series. Fielding first at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia after losing the toss, the Windies kept the Aussies to 141 for 6 from their 20 overs. Moise Enriquez top scored with 33, while Hayden Walsh Jr. took 2 for 18. Player of the match was Gayle. The world boss struck 67 off just 38 balls with 4 fours and 7 sixes as the Windies replied with 142 for 4 in just 14.5 overs. Skipper, stand-in skipper that is, Nicholas Pooran, was unbeaten on 32 as he and Gayle put on 67 for the 3rd wicket. The 4th match is tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. in Gros-Islet, live on 94.7, that's CBC Radio, 94.7 FM. A second career ODI ton by Hayley Matthews has meant that the Windies women lead the one-day international series against Pakistan as well, taking an unassailable 3-0 lead there too. They won yesterday's match at North Sound in Antigua by 8 wickets. The Windies women opted to field first and dismissed the visitors for 182 in 49 overs. Omia Sohail top scored with 62, while the stand-in skipper Anissa Mohammed took 3 for 25 and Chanel Henry 3 for 37. In reply, the Windies women ended on 183 for 2 or 40.1 overs. The player of the match was Hayley Matthews, top scoring with 100 and even 100 not out. That included 11 fours. The Pakistan women are yet to register a win on tour. We want to keep it that way. They have 2 more opportunities to do so, with the 4th ODI next on Thursday. And let's look at the Olympics now. In this morning's Olympic Moment, Mark Seal features an event that totally reminds us of what the Olympic spirit is all about.
Los Angeles, 1984. Gabriela Anderson-Scheiss of Switzerland participated in the first women's Olympic marathon. The 39-year-old entered the stadium and the crowd gasped in horror as she staggered onto the track, her torso twisted, her left arm limp, her right leg mostly seized up from severe heat exhaustion. She waved away any medical personnel who rushed to help her, knowing that if she was touched, she would be disqualified. The LA Coliseum crowd applauded and cheered as she limped around the track in the race's final 400 meters, occasionally stopping and holding her head. While the effects of heat exhaustion were plainly evident, trackside medics saw that she was still perspiring, which meant that her body still had some disposable fluids, thus they let her continue her march to the finish line. The distance narrowed with each step. Then, with a final stagger into lane number 2, she crossed the finish line to be greeted by 3 Olympic officials. In placing 37th, Gabby Anderson-Scheisse didn't win a medal, but she had conquered the first ever women's Olympic marathon. Plus, she had marked this particular event for history with her brave efforts, not just to start the race, but how she ended it.
Time now to look at the weather. On the outside, it's around 27 degrees Celsius and partly cloudy, but it will be mostly sunny today. The relative humidity is around the 85% mark. Barometric pressure 10-14 millibars, and those winds are actually coming out of the east today at around 32 kilometers per hour. We'll get a low tide just after midday at 10 minutes after 12. The high tide will come our way at 19 minutes to 7 late in the evening. Those seas are moderate to open water. Swells are peaking at around 2 meters and holding steady. Today will actually be mostly sunny, even though that forecast is partly sunny with a few brief isolated showers. And tonight we'll get a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. There's a 10% chance of rain here in Barbados and around the same in the Lesser Antilles today. It will be fairly partly cloudy there with a few brief light isolated showers. And tonight over the Lesser Antilles, a nice picture. Fair to occasionally cloudy, not too much happening as far as precipitation is concerned. They'll get just a few brief light isolated showers. And this is the international picture. London looking pretty decent as they get ready for Freedom Day next Monday. But today will be nice and cool, only getting up to 23 and down to 16 for Frankfurt. The maximum is 22 under some cloudy skies. In Miami, the sun is out, 29 the high, 26 the low, and in New York and Boston, partly cloudy skies. New York, warm too, getting up to 28 degrees Celsius today. In Boston, the maximum is 24. Both cities will be as cool as 21 degrees Celsius at some point today. In Toronto, you're up to 27, but you're getting some thunderstorms there. That's a good day in Toronto, really, as far as the temperature goes. In Montreal, the same high, up to 27. The minimum temperature expected, 17 degrees Celsius. And later on this evening at 6 o'clock, you can look out for those first aid chats. This is an initiative of the Cornerstone Medical Education Alliance presented by Dr. Adana Grandison, more affectionately known as Dr. G. They're focusing on the eyes, the challenge of the diabetic eye disease in Barbados. So you can check out that website there, www.podbean.com. You put in those letters and you'll go directly there. You can do a search as well and type in a first aid chat. You'll find it there and be a part of the discussion. And that's it for this edition of the Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados.
Good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Barbados for today, Tuesday, the 13th of July, 2021. I am Pearson Bowen. For those of you watching us on our YouTube channel, grateful for your company as always. And those of you on our Facebook streams, CBC Barbados and Morning Barbados, good morning. Welcome to today. Today, we'll also be looking at real estate. Of course, Agent Sharita will be joining us as we look at some of those good manners in real estate. You know, taking a look at things buyers and sellers should not do in the process of them buying or either selling their home. So we'll talk a little bit more about that with Agent Sharita in just a moment. Also today, our pandemic fitness continues as Thornwood will be coming by as we incorporate agility into our workouts. And of course, he'll get a chance to bust some of the myths about exercise and good healthy eating habits as well. All that and a whole lot more straight ahead, plus chances for you to win in our Crumbs question of the day. So stand by for that as well when we get a chance, you and I, to interact on this Tuesday morning. But what a day to start today as we celebrate yet again all of the great things that Barbadians, not just here, but around the world, are doing. One of those who has now found himself in Scotland is Philip Alves. And you do recall in 2003, when Barbadian hearts soared, when we saw Philip Alves and Valdez row into Barbados to celebrate their successful journey across the Atlantic. It was quite a moment. And now he's taken on a new challenge. What's that new challenge? We'll get a chance to talk to him in just a bit. But a little bit about Philip Alves before we get to him. Philip would himself have been one of those professional surfers, would you believe it? Philip did a lot of things and has been doing quite a few things in sports. He quite enjoys sport, and so he quite enjoys a challenge. So let's say good morning this morning now to Philip Alves. Phil, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning to Barbados. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, you know, here in preparation mode. We're trying to get the boats all ready for our training row, which will be heading out to the Scotland Harbour in the North Sea on Monday coming to participate in some training, about 350 miles in the ocean, where we'll be getting the boats tested and checking all the equipment.
Someone will look at you this morning and say, Phil, are you crazy? You did the 43 days across the Atlantic. Why didn't you just stop? Why are you doing this?
Well, I always have a passion for the sea. When I grew up in the Bayland area. Everybody knows the Bayland, where our famous cigar is from, a couple of streets from him. So we all used to partake in the ocean and the sea, and it's something that was always in my body, the water. I always loved the water. Then I went on as I got older. I was a professional windsurfer, and I dealt a lot with boats and stuff. And then the rowing in 2003. So hence here I am now. I was invited by the British team to join them to take part in the ocean row. Because of COVID, it was postponed to 2022. So currently now we're in preparation mode, and we're trying to get to the start line. So hence I'm here trying to get Barbados on board, trying to raise sponsorship to get to the next leg there, which is the big one coming up next summer.
You said you were asked and invited by the English team to join them. Did you ask yourself why you, Phil, when they invited you to join?
Well, between Randall, Valdez, and myself, we did well. We came third, and we're currently ranked 8th in the world of ocean rowing for the pairs. So I guess they saw the possibility of a good run and wanted someone from the hemisphere, from Barbados and the Caribbean region. So Randall was also invited, but he don't like cold weather. So hence I have to fly the Barbados flag.
But you like cold weather, clearly. You're in Scotland at the moment. Let's talk a little bit about your transitioning there and the things that you have to begin to acclimatize yourself to what? What are some of the subtle differences that you need now to settle in and to get into your bones?
Yeah, well, just the cold weather. It's cool up here. It's not cold, it's cool. And you just have to, you know, make sure you're having all your vitamins and stuff. You know, we still have COVID present. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. But currently where I live, the closest neighbor is about 2 miles from where I'm staying.
Right.
So I'm on a big property where the boats are being prepared on the outside. And, you know, we have people passing through, bringing all the materials from all the electronics and stuff. So in the last 2 weeks, I've been here since the 30th. Then I had 2 days of quarantine. And after that, I went full speed just upgrading and putting all the equipment, because we have to have the boats ready for Monday to transport to the water, where we'll be transitioning for the training. But you'll be wearing special clothing for the cold weather gear, special raincoats and stuff like that. But it'll be like a 10-day trip to Orkney. Those are the folks that made the gin for us. So we are rowing to Orkney from Eyemouth in Scotland to Orkney Islands, and that will be the training. After that, then we will come back and do the assessment and see how everything works, make sure all the equipment is working, and then that's the first one. And then later down in the new year, just before we head out, we'll be doing another test.
There's a lot of firsts in this as well. So this expedition you're on really is not just a normal walk through the forest, row through the forest, so to speak, or the seas. This is a first time it's being done along this passage, isn't it?
Yes, the Northwest Passage, where we are going to be going next year, 2022. This is the first time, and it's only made possible because of the melting of the ice on the global warming, because before it wasn't available to traverse by water. So that's how we are involved now. We wanted to do something, and this passage from Baffin Island to Point Inlet, Point Barrow, Alaska, have never been traversed because it's always frozen. But we have a window opportunity of 3 months when the snow would melt, and then that passage will be open. So that would be the world's last first, as we call it. So no one have ever done it before.
The world's last first. What thrills you or scares you about this expedition you're on?
Well, you know, being on a boat with 2 people, now we're going to be on boats with maybe 5 or 6 persons per boat. Have to look out for each other. There's lots of different things that go on out there in that neck of the woods. You have to be very careful, because if you fall overboard, you only have 3 minutes, and then you go to meet your maker. And then the other big problem there would be the polar bears, which we are very cautious. So we are also doing training with different deterrents for those. And I was told, and my research told me that the polar bears could swim up to 7 miles an hour, and the boat only goes about 6.5. So we have to make up some speed there to keep our distance there. So that's the main thing. But otherwise, we have 2 doctors on board, lots of medical persons will be involved, and it's a whole big forum, and it's a very big opportunity. I mean, my main thing here is to try to get as much PR for Barbados. We need it. We need to grow back our tourism industry. We need to have something to talk about positive, and this is a lead up to my contribution to my country. And I'm saying my praise. You have to put the Almighty in front, and then you walk behind it, my mom would say, and then all things are possible.
Well, we're hopeful that you do succeed at this as well. But, in terms of getting you, Philip, as a human body ready for this, what other kinds of physical activities would you have to engage in to make sure that you're fit and ready for the race, the big expedition?
Okay, I was home. I did some training with therapy in Warren's, therapy with Phyllis, to get all my joints loose, special diet with my supplements. I also did training with yoga with Miss Whelan at her yoga studio in St. George. And then at the gym there in Wildy, also with my personal trainer, Dion. Then I did my own riding training and the kayaking, because I'm also president of the Kayak Association in Barbados at this time. So I had a whole cross of mixture of that. The yoga really helped with pain, meditation, and diverting different pains of your body to different parts. I'm now here in Scotland with the temperatures every day. Like the last weeks, I had temperatures from down to 11 degrees. Then some days it went to 24 degrees. And I try as much as possible to wear as less clothes as possible, as you see the kilt.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah, just to have my body and, to get things there. I haven't been doing a lot of physical exercise, but that will come because as Dr. Stein, one of my mentors, said, learn the boat, learn all the operations because you have all the miles to learn to row.
All right. So having landed in Scotland, as you've just hinted, you got accustomed to the culture of what they wear, the kilt. Talk to me, Phil. When you put on that kilt for the very first time, what was the experience?
I don't know. It felt straight, a little bit eerie, a little bit eerie. Walking around, you get the dumb drafts coming up, so you feel a little strange, but it's okay. It's not a problem. Wearing the kilt, you're very free. You're very free. You're relaxed.
Yes.
So it's not a problem. I think the shoes and the socks, they're very thick. It takes a while to dress up in that stuff. It's like a symphony, all the bits and bobs you got to be putting on and stuff. It's faster to get out of it than to get it on. So there's a lot of stuff you have to go through there, dressing up in their ceremonial gear.
Yes,
that was
yes.
On Sunday gone there.
Scotland is known for its gin, so you're one is expected to engage in the customs there as well. How has it been, in terms of acclimatizing to the food and the drink and the everything else?
Yeah, the food and stuff is good. I have been cooking some local dishes for where I'm staying, and Levin, the guy, he's the chief of the expedition, and I'm staying at his residence, which all the activities going on with the boats and everything. He have a big farm here with all the equipment and stuff. And he was trying to introduce me to haggis and some of their local food. Lots of whiskey, but I'm staying away from that. I don't want to partake. I'm here to be positive and not to really. That would be at the end of everything. I may have to revisit to catch up on what I missed. And I did some cooking. I cooked some local lamb soup, and everybody loved it. So,
all right.
You can't get the variety of fish. I'm a fish person. I like to do fish, but I can't get the type of fish here is kind of different to what we get in Barbados. But otherwise, it's good. It's a good experience. It's lots of work. I took this time out. I'm really happy that you guys have me on Good Morning Barbados there. And I'm asking Barbados to get behind me. I have also a GoFundMe page set up, which I would like people to donate. You could just go into GoFundMe and do the search and put in Philip Alves. And then, every little bit will help. Right now, I'm not in line with the 8 ball. I'm still way behind. The Barbados Olympic Association was one of my main sponsors so far because we had timelines to get some money in, and they stepped up to the plate and they assisted me. And then also RBC Bank, I would really like to thank them. ESCO, Travel Chase Custom Brokers. These are people that helped me to get to where I am now, but there's still a long way to go finance-wise. People say it's not, it's costly. The whole trip will cost me about £60,000 per person. Myself is that, and I'm only scratched the surface trying to get there. It's okay to be here and all the training and stuff, but the final part is getting the funding because we have a lot of expenses to pay. Lots of stuff have to go into it. All of our support, all the satellite communication and all that. So everybody, all 15 team members, we share the cost, and it's a big cost to do something like this. But whoever gets involved, they'll be getting back their dividends because it's going to be widely publicized. They're still working on all the media coverage internationally and stuff. I can't say exactly who will be on, but the pandemic had things a little slow. But there's a lot of people interested. Netflix and some of the bigger entities out there in the media, they're all looking at being on board. But I think this would be a good opportunity for Barbados. As I say, I really want to thank the Olympic Association for having their faith in me. They took the brunt and they got me to where I'm at this moment, but I still have to get further. So
Right.
I'm hoping that people go onto the GoFundMe page, put in Philip Al's search in the search, and then donate and help me to get to the start line, and I will try to deliver the rest. You know,
From there.
It's a big project.
Yes.
And I'm only one guy from the whole Caribbean region that's representing in a whole different stadium.
Yes.
So I have to really step up to the plate.
Yes, and we're looking forward to that indeed. So, folks, we want you to go to the GoFundMe page, GoFundMe, and you'll look for Philip Alls and make your donations. Every bit counts indeed. When is the last great first? When is that event? So we can look out for it.
Yes, we are looking to try to ship out summer. We're about a year away, but you know, to fund the expedition.
Right.
You have to put in now because we have cut off dates and points that we have to meet. And right now, because of COVID, it put us back 1 year. So we were supposed to be at the start line all like now.
Mm-hmm.
But because the borders in Canada was closed and all the other stuff that went on.
Right.
You know, that put us back a year to give us some breathing space to raise the funding. It's very expensive to go there. There's so much different things you have to pay and get involved. It's a whole big pie, and you know,
Yes.
we're eating a little bit of the pie at a time. I'm really asking people to get on board and assist me. If you assist me, I'm committed 150% right now, but still to get to the start line is always that extra hurdle that you have to cross.
Indeed.
And right now we're still trying to catch up.
All right, Phil, we really hope that everybody, all Barbadians, we're going to appeal on your behalf as well. So go to GoFundMe and you look for Philip Alls and make your donations, everyone. Let's help Philip reach that finish line in that last great first. Phil, thank you for joining us from Scotland. We'll connect with you as you draw closer and closer to that date, and we'll continue to encourage people to fund you as well. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Pearson, and you have a wonderful day, and God bless Barbados.
Amen to that one. Thank you to Philip Alls. The last great first is what the next challenge that he's in, and we want you to help him meet that challenge by funding his exposition as well. So please go to GoFundMe and look for Philip Alls and make your donation starting today. We'll take a break right here, and when we come back, there's much more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My mom used to tell me, we can't know who we are or where we're going until we know where we came from. And I've been trying to understand what that means and why I was here.
That's the story of The Moon Child, another great piece of work coming out of Barbados and premiering just recently at the LA Shorts International Film Festival. The writer and director of that short is Sana Alsop. Good morning to you, Sana.
Hi there.
So how are you doing this morning knowing your film has just premiered in LA?
it's amazing. We're very excited. And yeah, it's been great. It was a huge surprise. It was the first festival we heard back from. We entered a few, and basically the biggest festival for short films selected us.
So here it is, The Moonchild. Tell us a little bit about the story behind The Moonchild, the film.
Well, I work in film and we do a lot of different things. We always work on other people's projects. And The Moonchild was actually a passion project that is very personal and it's a family story. And it came out of the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And it's how it affected us at home, my children, and, questions that were being asked. They're Barbadian girls, I have 3 daughters. And they just asked a lot of questions about history, about where we came from, and at the same time we had a friend's daughter who was very sick with cancer, and so this, we were all talking as a family about all of these issues, and it just kind of grew out of that. And my original background is anthropology, so if you take all of that, that's how Moonchild came about.
Okay. Well, this film, I'm told, explores, themes of religion, slavery, freedom of choice, and a whole lot more. And pulling all of that together, I'm sure it's packed with emotions.
Yeah, it's not the lightest film. I have to say, it's quite hardcore in terms of the themes and stuff. But it ends on hope. I think that's the most important thing. And I think I think the most important part of this story is it's told through the eyes of a child, so terminally ill child, and how she views religion, how she views her choices when there are no choices, and how she learns about her history. And I think that's what's really important. And we use quite a lot of, it's very Barbadian in its roots. So there's places that we shot that are there's a lot of symbolism in the film as well.
There's this little girl by the name of Ara, as you said, who's terminally ill, but who found herself bedridden. And so the moon meant a lot to her. So I'm just trying to get into your mind to understand why the moon was so important to this child.
I think from reality, so our daughter's friend who was very ill, she was going through chemotherapy.
My mum used to tell me.
It used to, the days were very hot, and chemotherapy, the treatment itself is very hot. And I remember around that time there was a full moon, and she would literally lie in the moonlight, and the night would be soothing and cooling, and it would just give her a relief from the chemotherapy. So I think it really came out of that element, and my girls were talking about the moon a lot. And I remember we were having these really amazing giant full moons. And in African religions as well, when you go back to Africa, you'll see there's a lot of moon worship. Generally the moon is so important spiritually for so many religions.
You're quite right. Even as us as children, we remember those moments enjoying the moonlight out at night. You're either playing or you're playing a lark on someone. So it was quite a moment of time when you saw the full moon in the sky. You wanted to do things a little differently. So this little girl used the moon to help her to dream just a little bit. And so out of this came your short, The Moonchild. Who are some of the actors who we would see when we watch this short, The Moonchild?
So we're so lucky with who we were able to get. So Professor Pedro Welsh, he plays himself in the film. And we have John Hunt, Yannick Hume, Layla Moore, who's actually my daughter. And we just cross, they're kind of playing themselves, playing characters. So Professor Welch is basically, he's a projection from a book she's reading. So she's actually reading a history book about Barbados and slavery, and he appears from a projection of the moon. So they actually have these conversations at night, and then she travels and sees the things that he's talking about.
You operate your own film studio, Parachutes Film Studio. So putting the short together and the cinematography, the work behind all of that, was it just yourself behind the camera, or did you work with a team of people? And if so, who were they?
when they say it takes a village, this film has literally come about because we had the most amazing village supporting us, and every single person on this team has made this project come to life. So we had from our Barbadian crew, we've had people like Travis Springer, Mandy Cummins, Katrina Brathwaite, Roger Moore, my partner, and they brought their A game, and they put so much passion and love into the project, which you can completely see from the costuming, the special effects makeup, and then from the post-production, we were very lucky to have someone volunteer on the project, Brandon Sigiyama, who's an Emmy Award-winning visual effects person. So he volunteered actually to help with the post-production. And we had an editor, Chiara Armentano, who's Italian-British, so she came on board at the very end and helped edit it. So, I mean, I haven't mentioned, there's so many people to mention, but it's really, it is that passion, and everybody just loved the project and what it was about. It's a very kind of tender film, and I think they just all came in and just gave so much love to it, and you can really see it when you watch the film.
We can also see some of your other work. You've done Built to the Last, a documentary, because this is not the first, The Moonchild is not the first out of your studio. And you've also written a pilot to The Baden Detective. So there's a whole body of work that's come out of Parachute Film Studios. I see you smile because it must feel interesting to your ears to hear other people credit and comment on your work.
Well, I've been in documentary for about 20 years. But The Moonchild was my first narrative short, so it's my first time as a female director of colour making something dramatic, and so it took a long time for me to come around to doing something original content. So that's why it's also been so amazing to get picked up with your first project. So you're always scared to do something and take that step out. So I think that's also been such a validation, for the fear of actually going out and doing something. And my second project is The Baden Detective. It's a comedy. It's a lot lighter. I tend to do quite a lot of very hardcore, as my daughter puts it, depressing work. But so we decided to do. She just said, if you do anything else about race or politics, can you please do something funny? So that's how it came about. Over the first lockdown, I wrote Baden Detective, and it's again, it does address BLM issues, but it does it as a dark comedy, and we're in the process of completing edit and pitching to a streamer. So if we get where we're going with that, I think we'll be one of the first shows from the Caribbean to stream as original content.
Fantastic. Now, having just premiered at the LA Shorts International, where else are you hoping to premiere The Moonchild?
So we entered about 17 festivals, and every month between now and December, we will hear from about 2 to 3 festivals. So we hear 2 more festivals this month, 2 more next month. So we'll just see how we go. I mean, it's extraordinary. We got picked up for the first 2.
Yes.
We entered. So the other one is the Ischia Global Film Festival, which is one of Italy's most prestigious festivals, and it's premiering. I think it's the European premiere sometime between the 18th and the 21st of July.
All right.
So we have new premieres coming.
So the roller coaster continues. Quite a schedule ahead of you. Sana Alsop, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we celebrate with you the success thus far with The Moonchild. We can't wait to see many more of your projects coming out of the Parachute Film Studios. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's take another look at the news now, and for that, let's turn to Shane Seeley. Shane.
Thank you so much, Pearson. The COVID-19 monitoring unit says and claims it has video evidence to support its move to close down 2 West Coast bars over the weekend for breaching COVID-19 protocols. And despite the criticism in some quarters, according to the head of the unit, Ronald Chapman, it was the right call. The unit cited the businesses for overcrowding and having patrons who were wearing masks inappropriately. Mr. Chapman says the owners were warned and shut down on previous occasions.
Is according to what my officers would have found at the time, the reports we had, that there was overcrowding and there was improper and non-wearing a mask. In fact, there was one establishment, we didn't close it, but because this was their more or less a first time warning, persons did not have on their masks. They were standing together, and we have footage of people dancing and so on. Now, in all these cases, we take footage where we go, so that I know that on social media, some people say different things, but at the end of the day, we do have footage of the establishments and the goings on of the establishments.
As part of their mandate to protect the health of the wider public, Mr. Chapman has made clear the monitoring unit will continue clamping down on establishments like clubs and bars, churches and places where people gather. He says the recent spike in COVID-19 cases and clusters linked to a St. Michael church and a business are clear indicators for the unit's adoption of a zero-tolerance approach.
I know that in the social media, and again in social media, persons were saying, well, hey, this was 33 of those were in a church. If this is in a church, why are you targeting bars and targeting this place and the next place and the third place?
Mm-hmm.
I would caution people that in the first lockdown, we had a number of bars which we could have attributed where our contact tracing led us back to. So it does, when you're managing risk, you can't sit down and wait for it to happen and then take action. You have to take action to prevent it happening.
10 new COVID-19 cases, 5 males and 5 females were identified on Sunday, July the 11th from 590 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. As we look at the numbers even further, we see that there are 64 people still in isolation. Barbados has recorded 4,186 confirmed cases of COVID-19. 48 people have died from the virus. The number of tests carried out by the Public Health Laboratory to date is 194,896. Public health officials have administered 96,212 first doses of COVID-19 vaccines under the National Vaccination Program, and a total of 72,606 people are fully vaccinated. That figure represents 26.8% of the population. Not surprised, that's the reaction of the Barbados Private Sector Association to the reintroduction of the curfew and other restrictions against the background of the recent spike in COVID-19 cases. Chairman Edward Clark acknowledges that any decreased time due to new restrictions will also mean reduced operational hours for businesses. However, he also understands why the new measures are necessary.
Certainly, we are disappointed that this had to happen. It is clear that Barbadians have let down their guard in certain aspects of business, and obviously now in the churches it would seem as well. And we need to get back to where we used to be. We need to ensure that all these protocols are being enforced in our business places. But as Barbadians in general, we need to ensure that we have our own management of our protocols at home and our community. These things don't start in the businesses, these things start elsewhere. But it only needs one person to bring it into the business, and then the bad habits will spread. So we need to ensure we follow our protocols within the business environment, but even more so outside of the business environment.
And the Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Cynthia Ford, is reassuring landlords this morning who are prepared to offer their properties to residents displaced by Hurricane Elsa that they need not worry about being compensated. Here's what she had to say.
The commitment has come from the Ministry of Finance under the stewardship of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Minister Strawn, and of course the Economic Affairs Minister, Minister Marsha Kettle. They have all already agreed and made arrangements through the Cabinet to ensure that persons who come on board and share their households with us through the rentals and so on, they do not have to worry about funds at all. The funds will be made available in a timely and as timely a fashion as possible to help people to be able to fill those properties and to make the difference in the lives of those who have been displaced.
And more news updates will come your way on CBC Newsday, but until then, it's back to you, Pearson.
Shane, thank you very much. It's now 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. We are taking a break here, and when we're back, the Crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Fast approaching 9 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's get ready for our Crumbs question of the day. Let's get ready for you to call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563 to correctly answer today's Crumbs question of the day. And here we go with today's question for you to answer. 228-5562 or 228-5563 is the question. Name the 4 types of smoothies sold at Crispy Fried Chicken. Name the 4 types of smoothies sold at Crispy Fried Chicken. Name them all, each of them. What are those 4 types of smoothies sold at Crispy Fried Chicken? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Name the 4 types of smoothies sold at Crispy Fried Chicken. You know this answer. You've been here before. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Of course, you know the 2 locations. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What parish are you watching us from?
St. Andrew.
St. Andrew, ma'am. What's your answer for me?
Banana, strawberry, mango ice cream.
I don't answer questions.
Mango
I
ice
ask
cream.
questions.
Yeah.
So what's your answer again? Say them again for me. So I'm clear.
Banana, strawberry, ice cream, and mango.
That's your final answer?
Yes, please.
Where did you get the answer from?
I think I heard it before.
No. Where did you get that answer from?
I heard it before.
Where did you get that answer from?
I heard it on the TV before.
Okay. Have you ever been to Crispy Fried Chicken?
Yes, I did.
Have you tried any of the smoothies?
The mango.
You've had a mango. How was it?
It was great.
Was it mango-y?
Yes.
So when you go to Crispy's again, which other smoothie would you want to try?
Strawberry.
Why?
Because I love strawberry. I have to try them one by one.
So if you love strawberry, why did you go to the mango one first?
Because I want to try the mango before the strawberry.
So it's a mango, then the strawberry, then what after that?
The ice cream.
The ice cream one, and then actually the banana last, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's your order. I'm glad to hear. So which branch of Crispy Fried Chicken did you go to?
Fairfield Street.
Because that's convenient to you?
That was before, yeah, because, yeah, but now it got on Spice Town. I will go to Spice Town.
You know Crispy's well. That's become your fast food outlet now, right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Andrew, you're absolutely right. And I really want to congratulate you for correctly identifying the mango, strawberry, banana, and ice cream types of flavors of the Crispy Fried Chicken smoothies. She's chuckling in the back. Stay on the phone, all right? We'll take some more information from you, Mr. Andrew. And congratulations to her indeed. And congratulations it could be for you tomorrow when we come around once again with our crumbs question of the day. And with Crispy Fried Chicken, you will find that experience is going to be most memorable. We'll take a break right here and we're back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 13 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock as we move now to our pediatric care with our favorite pediatrician, Dr. Gillian Birchwood. Dr. Birchwood, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you today?
I am doing well today. How are you doing today?
I am having a good day so far.
That's great to hear. Listen, it's the summer vacation, it's also the rainy season, and there are a couple of things as children I grew up experiencing. I don't know about you, but when it rains, you know, you always heard, don't get wet, you'll catch a cold. That's one. And then two, we were outside with our boat rides in the drains and so on. But, you know, today we're cautious about all of these things. How do you respond to that?
Well, the truth is, it is a myth that if you get caught in the rain, you're going to catch a cold. It's something that you hear from your parents and your grandparents, come inside. And you even see Bajans run out of the sea when it rains.
Yes.
See them run straight out of the sea, which I've always found very amusing. And so it luckily is a myth. So I say, you know, if you have a happy, healthy child, let them run around a bit in the rain. Be sure to dry them off properly when they get inside. And of course, make sure there's no lightning and thunder.
Of course. But in terms of, you know, the germs that one could possibly get from playing in the drains, because we all did. And look, hey, I'm still alive, not wood. You know, so what do you say to the parent whose child is adventurous enough to want to go out and have a paper boat to put a twig in and watch it sail? What do you say to that child, that parent of that child?
Well, I would not recommend that a child play in open drains because sometimes some very unsavory things can be floating along in those drains. You know, you can see dead creatures sometimes. If it's a very heavy rain that's been flooding, there could be sewage contamination in those drains. So as much fun as we all had, I certainly did my fair share of leaf boats and paper boats, and I'm still miraculously alive to tell the tale.
Yes.
It's really not a good idea to have that water splash up in their face.
All right, so take caution, parents. You know, let the children have some fun, but take caution as well. You're absolutely right. So, with all of this, the rains that are about now, though, you know, the threat of the mosquito is also very real. And so, you know, parents today are I don't know if they're closing their eyes to it, but somehow we've got very comfortable and we assume it's just another bug. But what do you say in terms of the mosquito population rising during the rainy season?
Yes, the rains bring an explosion in the mosquito population, which are mostly relatively dormant during the dry season. And with that explosion of mosquitoes comes an explosion of mosquito-borne illnesses. The most concerning one in our part of the world is dengue fever, but we certainly had Zika and chikungunya, and God knows what else will be poking up its head in times to come. And dengue fever is nothing to laugh at. Last year, we had quite a bad outbreak of dengue in Barbados, and a lot of children were literally affected. Quite a severe illness that can cause critical illness in babies and in older children. So I would be very careful about protecting our children from mosquito bites during the rainy season and the summer.
I know generally with the babies, the very young babies in cribs, we have that net that we put over the crib just to ensure that no bugs get in. That you would advise. But then there are the other children, you know, who, before you get to that one, why are some people more susceptible to bites from mosquitoes than others? Because not what again, I don't seem to have that problem, but others do.
Well, that is true. So it isn't that some people are bitten more than others, it's just that the after effects of the bite are more apparent in some people than others. And so some people are literally allergic to mosquito bites. And so whereas one person gets bitten, you wouldn't know the next morning. The next morning for another person, there are big red swollen areas with each bite. And that's literally because of an allergic reaction. And so they will have a very dramatic reaction that will swell up. Sometimes you'll see blistering and then scarring. And so that really is an allergic reaction rather than the mosquitoes like them more than someone else.
You know what we tend to do? We want to lather the child's skin with all sorts of insect repellents. Is that advisable?
Well, it is very advisable to protect your child from mosquito bites. And in addition to dressing in light, long clothing, protecting exposed areas with the right mosquito repellent can be a definite addition that will help. So it's key to know the ingredients. We tend to favor a lot of the natural ingredients like citronella and lemongrass, and those can be effective, but not for very long. So reapplication is very, very important. Parents should look for mosquito repellents that contain substances that are known to be effective, such as DEET, D-E-E-T, and picaridin, which are present in many commercially available mosquito repellents that you see selling in supermarkets and pharmacies. Be very careful to pay attention for how long they're effective. I swear the mosquitoes have read the labels, and as soon as the wear-off time comes, then they swoop right in. So make sure to reapply at the recommended time.
Somehow they wait until you go to sleep as well, you know, till you're all dead to the world, and there they come buzzing all about and do that. But even that scenario with a child, you know, just make sure that they're wearing those pajamas that are quite lengthy, you know, long sleeves and so that the child is protected against those buzzing insects. You're quite right. Correct. So find those insect repellents that are suitable for the child, that are safe for the child's usage as well. But with summer also comes our experiences all over the place, you know, the children, I can hear my godson's already saying, go to the beach, you know, that kind of thing. And you need to be warned against that as well, because there's the element of the sun, and while vitamin D is great, too much of it is also not so great.
Yes. So summertime, we're all outside. We want to go to the beach. We're hoping that we don't have lockdown that doesn't allow us to go to the beach. But it's important to have sun protection for the children. A lot of times people think, you know, I have, you know, dark-skinned child. We don't need to protect them from the sun. That's actually not true. It's not just light-skinned children who can be affected by the sun, dark-skinned people and children as well. You know what adults look like after Kadooment? You can see them completely sunburned the next day.
Yes.
So if you're going to be spending a lot of time in the sun, on the beach, you know, playing cricket, football, you know, what the children do during the summer, it's important to protect them with a sunblock. And this sunblock for older children should contain a sun protection factor, or SPF, of at least 15. And for younger children, that number should be higher. And for babies, they should not really be in the sun for any significant length of time, babies who are less than 6 months old. But if you're going to the beach, they should have a sun protection factor or a sunblock that contains ingredients like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. Those are the ones that are white on the skin. They are much better for babies' delicate skin.
And then, of course, there's fluid. You know, dehydration could occur too with too much exposure to the sun.
Yes, so that's the other element that we tend to forget. One of the reasons why children, parents love taking children to the beach is when they come home, they're exhausted and pass out.
Yes.
It's the best part of taking them to the beach. But be sure that they're not exhausted because they're dehydrated. So they should be drinking lots and lots of fluids, things like water, coconut water, 100% fruit juices are great ways to rehydrate. Stay away from the sodas. Make sure that they are getting lots of fluid. Just because they're in the water doesn't mean they can't become dehydrated.
Interesting. Just because they're in the water does not mean they can't become dehydrated. Which brings us then to the foods that happen as well, because we think it's summer, let them have a treat, let them indulge a little bit more, because generally during school time they cannot do so. So what do you advise there as it relates to their diet and choices of food and drink?
Yes, that is a great point, Pearson. Every pediatrician knows that after summer, we see the weight bump in the children. And so sometimes that weight bump becomes a cumulative affair, and then we have a child who becomes frankly obese. Because at summertime, they're eating a lot more fast foods and candies, and there may be social occasions, although not so much now with COVID. That means that they're eating a lot more so-called junk food. So it's particularly important to pay attention and offer the child more fruits and vegetables. Vegetables are often a four-letter word for children, but they're really important as a way to fill the children up and to give them the vitamins. Stay away from the highly processed foods and fast foods. Very important.
Terribly important. But, okay, so it's the beach, but then there are others who go to the pool. They wanted to swim around the pool and they want to enjoy all of those things, but dangers where that's concerned as well. What would you advise today?
Yes, a lot of people have pools around their homes, or they may opt to staycation somewhere that has a pool, and pool safety is extremely important. Water safety for children really involves making sure that they are constantly supervised, because children are curious and they like to get involved in the action in the pool. They may play games that are dangerous. What we don't want is a toddler falling into the pool unsupervised because a parent is on their phone or not paying attention. So it's really important that they are watched at all times. People who have pools should make sure that there is a fence around their pool that completely encircles the pool, and that fence should be at least 4 feet high, no gaps in the fence that a child can squeeze through. It does happen in Barbados that children wander into pools and fall in with dreadful consequences. There are also pool covers, but the key is supervision and water safety training. There are swimming classes in Barbados available from children who are very young, even less than a year old. And the point is to teach them water safety, but it's not a substitute for parental supervision.
And you're quite right. We had a tragic story in our news this morning where a young child, 18-month-old child, drowned in a bucket of water in Guyana. So you could imagine the loss, the pain that parent felt knowing that as well. So we need to be constantly supervising these little ones. Though they're on vacation and you're figuring it's your vacation too. No, it's not. You can't give up your parental responsibilities.
Correct. And even the little kiddie pools that we have around our homes, we buy them and we fill them up with water. It just takes 2 inches of water for a child to drown in. Wow. So even those little kiddie pools, when you're finished with them, empty them out, because that toddler or that little 3-year-old is going to want to wander out of the house and back into that fun pool. So watch those little ones as well.
We often would have gone shirtless as boys. I know the girls couldn't risk this one. Shirtless as boys, outside play, you play cricket, football, every little thing. And then the hair color changes. I know mine used to go fire red at the end of vacation and so on. But you just want to let parents know that while you want the child to live the child's best life and to be as childlike as possible, all of these protective ideas and information we share this morning that you need to pay greater attention to. Don't overdo. In other words, don't overdo. But I think one of the things I want people to take away today is the food, the eating part, because it's the time that we just allow them to go off and do whatever they want to do. And it's not the time to do so.
Correct. I think you had a very fun childhood. I need to find out
I
more
did.
about this childhood, Pearson.
I did. As a country boy, I had a grand old time. Seriously, for real. But you know, one of the things though, as growing up in the country, because we had so many fruit trees around, you know, whether it's the grape, the dunks, the apples, the mangoes, everything everywhere, we were able then to eat the healthy fruits as opposed to just go for the junk food. But a lot of that doesn't happen today.
That's so true. And we can't, you know, if we stick to the old ways, we'll find that we have good results. Stick to the old ways.
You got that right. So this old boy will leave you now, Dr. Bertrand. Thank you so much for once again joining with us. Next week, God's Prayer Life, we will continue our look into our pediatric care with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Dr. Julian Birchwood, our favorite pediatrician this morning, as we continue looking at summertime and the rainy season. Remember what she said. Get the right insect repellent for the child. Make sure that you guard your children off of the exposure, overexposure to vitamin D, the sunlight as well. Rehydrate wherever possible. Make sure they're eating the right things and just do the right thing. Let's have some fun with our children this summer season. We're taking a break right here. And when we come back, our look into real estate.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're approaching 29 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock this Tuesday morning, and it's time for us to turn our attention to real estate. Agent Sharita, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Before we get cracking, you have no idea how many people look forward to seeing you on a Tuesday morning. They quite enjoy.
Really?
Yeah, for real. And so everywhere I turn, there are people who said, hey, we just love Agent Sharita. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you're pleasing a lot of people. That means you're doing something really good. Now, today, and this one is all the topic, I thought, good manners in real estate. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Pearson,
Yes.
real estate is not for the faint of heart, okay? It is like high stakes poker, and because of it, the best behaviors do not emerge.
So explain to me some of the scenarios where some of the bad behavior would emerge.
All right. Owners, y'all need to hear this because sometimes you don't think that we notice or that, others are doing it, but this is a common thread across the board. Perfect example, Pearson. Let's take, I am a seller. My job is to sell. So I advise you accordingly. We start off with the right rate for your property. And if after a couple months I'm not getting enough phone calls or emails, I let you know we need to probably adjust this price. The market isn't responding. And many owners are obviously hesitant because they don't want to give away your property, right?
Yes.
But when you hear this one, you ready for it? I had a property at $495,000. I happened to come across the same property online at $435,000 with someone else, another agent. This is after I had begged the owner, please, we need to reduce the price. The property was what? $60,000 less.
Yes.
When I asked her about the price that I saw, she said, well, Amy, my sister made me do that. It is your property, ma'am. My sister made me do that, and I didn't even really want to go with that agent, but we can just test it out. She We can test it out, and what you could do, she can keep it at 430, but you could drop yours to 450,000, and we will see how it will work out. Because I'm an idiot, right?
I see
If
the
you only
challenges.
know how often we deal with these types of scenarios,
Wow.
it is tough, Pearson. It is tough. It is tough.
So what then do you want the homeowners to do? I mean, to be honest, up front, naturally, that's one of the things you'd want them to do. And let's negotiate in honesty and fairness, really.
Yes. Listen, you hire an agent for use of their expertise and guidance. So don't ignore them, and then just want the property to miraculously sell itself. Another problem that plagues a lot of owners sometimes, and they're going to hurt your feelings when I say it, but I say it, greed. Greediness. Sometimes we're in a climate, Pearson, where let's say an owner a client makes an offer of 500,000 on your house, okay? I honestly believe that it might be a fair offer considering it's, you initially had it at 535. It took a year for somebody to make the offer. Take it and run, or at least counter with some slight counter, see what they can come up to. Oh, no. Man, I feel if we hold on just a little bit longer.
And then you lose
5
the sale.
years later, 5 years later, the house is still there. Yeah, so it's like playing shadow and the bone, and grabbing, and not dealing with the offers right in front of you.
You're quite right.
So that's one of the
And I suspect that's one of the most typical ones that you encounter, where we want to stick out for what we want, not recognizing the market has shifted as well, and so we lose out the opportunity.
Yes. Another issue with owners, God bless you, I love you, without you I don't have a job. But if we arrange that we're meeting Wednesday to list your house, which means photos, take a description, etc., why am I turning up to the scene of a tornado? You knew I was coming. It doesn't have to be museum clean, Pearson, but you could pelt some of the things in a cupboard. Declutter. At least try.
And that's not your job to have to do. You should not be the one who has to do all of that. And that's the whole point. Yeah. So when it comes to the good manners, we're talking the manners here. So if you're going to be entering the real estate market faulty, you have to be able to sell your best side. So make sure, as Agent Sharita just said, that when she comes to take her photograph so that she can publish you, that you show your best self. Yeah, get ready, man. Clean up the house, put the garbage somewhere, and you have to bring it back, put it back. But make the property look.
Oh God. Correct. So that is on the owner, the seller's bad behavior. Can I share just a smidge of bad behavior?
Yes, you may.
Clients, we know y'all do this, we talk about you. If I show you the property and you know you like it, but wait a minute. If I get Sharita out of the equation, maybe I could negotiate a little bit lower with the seller directly. So you know what I tell Sharita? Man, we ain't like it. We ain't like it at all. Terrible. Then you go back 2 weeks later to the property because the owner, hi, just wondering if we could, discuss deal directly. And there are quite a few unethical owners who will act as if I didn't bring you to the property, forget that I exist, and negotiate directly the buyer, cutting the agents out of the equation. Yes.
That's not nice at all.
Happens more often than you think.
It's not nice at all. Because then you run the risk too of running your problems there. The agent who's the experienced one can help you, or that the deal is legit and good. But when you choose to do it on your own, yourself up to a whole host of other issues. So do it. Don't do it. Don't cut out the agent.
And then there's and then things now, well, not minor, but a bit more trivial, but still bothersome. I arranged to meet with John Brown at your property, Pearson. You rush home from work to open up your property. I reconfirmed with John Brown in the morning that we're looking at your property, and guess what? As we look at the clock and realize it's now 10 minutes after 12, and I call John Brown. You know what John Brown tells me? I was to call you, I ain't gonna be able to make that. I can't make that. I got a meeting.
See that?
I
I
go on
hate
with him.
that. I know that I hate. I'm a stickler for time. Everybody here who works with me knows me when it comes to time, and not just being punctual, but being upfront and honest. If I can't make it, I'll tell you with sufficient time.
Yeah.
I could imagine how irksome that must be for a real estate agent.
I have gone to the bowels of the earth, got there early, took an hour to get there to hear that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not good. That's not
Yeah.
good. Buyers, come on, we gotta change that behavior, man. That's not good at all. I mean,
Ain't easy. Ain't easy.
you know, I could well imagine. And the thing is, because it's your job, you put yourself out as well, as you just described. And here it is now, me, the lazy buyer, potential buyer, I'm playing the fool. You know, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good.
And you schedule your whole day. People don't realize agents schedule their whole day. So today might be a St. Philip and East day. So when you bail on me, you mess up my whole synergy. And one of the last things I'm going to share with you, Pearson, those buyers who cheekily say that they're cash buyer, and cash is king in real estate world. It excites an owner, the thought that a deal can wrap up probably in under 5 weeks as opposed to 5 months. So you find that an owner would be more willing to accept a slightly lower offer if it's a cash offer. So you know what some clients do? Yeah, I'm a cash buyer. You know, I got the funds there ready, all cash. Then when the offer is accepted at a figure lower than probably the norm, and they make their 10% deposit, and I realize all of a sudden things taking kind of long. Yeah, just waiting for the bank to start things up. What bank?
Yes, you have
What
the
bank?
cash. Yes. Yeah.
So welcome to the world of real estate. It is not for people who want to keep their blood pressure low.
Or the faint of heart.
No, it is not easy.
I can well imagine. You know, there's a whole new set of respect we have for you this morning, for real, to know you have to encounter all of these different personalities. I'll describe it that way safely. You know, that you have to encounter day in, day out. You know, and it's unfair. I think it's unfair in lots of ways because, you know, you're hurting either the seller or you're hurting the real estate agent. And most of all, you're hurting yourself. Because then when you're appearing to be unethical, your opportunity for another encounter, positive encounter, will be less. You know, so let's change our behaviors. Let's be respectful.
Please.
Yeah. Agent Sharita, as always, you know, it's one of our favorite times on a Tuesday. Thank you so very much. And we encourage people to give you a call on 233-8888. 233-8888. That's the number to Agent Sharita. She'll put you on good footing. Or you can find her at Real Estate Barbados on social media. And you can really engage with her today. Thank you so much, Agent Sharita. Have a good one.
You're welcome. Take care.
Likewise. Take care. All right. We're going to take a break right here. And we are back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, pandemic fitness is time it is right now. And of course, this is a time for you to get on your jogging shorts or your sweats, whatever it is, you might do it in place. Look for that implement that we're going to be introducing you to today to make you feel fitter as well as we get ready to join shortly with our fitness instructor in Mr. Thornwood, Mr. Califit 246. Hopefully he'll be able to demystify some of those myths that we've had long in our bosoms for a little while and be able to set us on the right path forward. And remember, if you're looking for personal training, Califit 246 is the place to go. Califit 246, you can find him on social media, and once you sign up with him, he and his team or anyone in his team will come to you wherever you are at a time most convenient to you, and most of all bring you the results that you're looking for as you find your way towards fitness. Fitness also engages us in our eating habits as well. I'm sure that he'll be talking to us a little bit more about that. But time to say good morning to you, Mr. Thornwood, Mr. Califit 246.
Address, though.
What's that? Thorn? I'm sorry, I guess he's not quite ready for me just yet. But you know, if you have any questions at all for Mr. Califit 246 Thornwood, you can send it to califit246@gmail.com, califit246@gmail.com. If you're uncertain about any fitness regime, or if you heard something that you thought someone was probably pulling your leg about and you want clarity on it, Mr. Califit 246 will be able to clarify it for you. But send an email to califit246@gmail.com and we will discuss it right here on Morning Barbados with Mr. Thornwood. I can't wait to hear what he's going to be taking me through, or you through today. I know we're looking a little bit at incorporating agility into our workouts, but in what ways are we going to do so? Califit 246. Remember, sign up to their PT sessions, personal training. And there's nothing like having your personal training. You get that one-on-one attention to the details of working out that or those particular areas in your body that you know that you need some attention to. But as he said time and time again, it's not just to focus on one part, do whole body, and then you will see the results overall as you seek to improve your fitness as you go. So any questions at all, send it to him at califit246@gmail.com. 17 to 8 o'clock. We ready yet? So also want to remind you folks and help Philip Alves as we get ready to hook up with Thorn in just a moment. Please help Philip Alves. He is rowing across for what they're calling the last great first. He's in Scotland at the moment and he's raising funds. He needs about £60,000. He's opened up his GoFundMe account, GoFundMe, and you look for Philip Alves and you can donate. This next year, but he's already there in Scotland acclimatizing and training in anticipation of that. It should have been like now, but because of the pandemic it's been postponed just a bit, but he's trying to raise his funds. So GoFundMe and for Philip Alves, A-L-S, and please assist in that effort as well. That big last great first is between the Northwest Passage, the Arctic route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. That's considered now the last great first. Fud, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Pearson. How you doing? You tricked me today, but
You
did trick me. You're smart.
Oh, I tricked you? You never planned anything with me, Mr. Arnwood? So how am I being accused of trickery? Well, what's going on today?
All right, today we're talking a bit about incorporating agility into your workout. You know, I know like to lift your weights and stuff like that, but agility is excellent to add into your workout. Not working on strengthening the connective tissue. You're talking about your tendons and your ligaments, like change the direction and sharpness, but it's also a great way to, rather than, you know, doing something linear, like just hitting the bicycle or running 10 miles or whatever the case may be. So you got a little setup here.
So before you continue, now I'm seeing the cones on the ground, right? Last night, as I was leaving the corporation, he said, let me just go with a couple colleagues of mine. They were going to a boot camp. I wanted to see what it was about. And it was,
you gotta say that one more time for me.
Wait, you mean you can't hear me?
I couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay, no. I was saying I went to watch a couple of things of mine at a boot camp last evening. And you know, the music's so infectious, I found myself doing a few of the pieces. And so, see the cones, it just reminded me of that. But you know, a boot camp is a boot camp a good way also to get fitness?
Most definitely, it depends on what it's catered towards, right? So boot camp in itself is just the type of workout that you're going to do. Whatever the person or the trainer has mandated to do inside said boot camp, whether it be for you to increase strength, flexibility, or just plain weight loss, it's definitely an excellent way, especially for those who may be afraid to work out on their own. You know, some people like to work out in groups. The vast majority of people like to work out in groups, in fact. So it's because they feed off of energy and stuff like that. It's just plain fun, to be quite honest.
Now, we're going to take a break, of course, but I know, is there any myth or anything you want to demystify about today?
Really quickly, we're talking, the question that I got last week was, do we need to cut carbs in order to lose fat? Now, we've spoken about before, it's all about what you are trying to achieve. Is it a necessity? No. Do you, however, need to maybe cut some of your simple carbs, which might be like soft drinks and the sugars and stuff like that? Most definitely. This is not an affront to my ketosis friends who, you know, it's about having like a lower calorie deficit, like 500 and that kind of, and then replacing that with fat. However, if you are just your average Joe and you're just trying to lose a couple of pounds, unless you have any other limiting factors in which you be a specialist, it's definitely not a necessity. Actually, fat can a carbohydrate flame, but that is an entirely kettle of fish to go down in terms of scientifically.
All right, so that's been busted now, folks. But of course, if you have further queries at all, you can email califit246@.com, califit246@gmail.com. So tell Mr. Califit, we're going to take a break and we'll come back as we get ready for those agility, incorporating agility into our workouts that you will do. Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back after this. All right, we're just 10 minutes now to go to the 8 o'clock. It's Pandemic Fitness Time with our boy, Mr. Califit 246 Thornwood. He's in studio over there. And we have someone with you, Thorn. Lucky you.
Most definitely. We've solicited the help of Regina back here. So we're going to go through a really super simple drill for beginners. Nothing too high impact, but it is an agility drill. What we're going to do here is that usually I do this for like 30 to 45 seconds. You start jogging spot. What Regina is going to do, she's going to call a color. All right, while I'm here. Waiting. Anytime now, Regina.
Okay. Come on, Regina, jump on. Green. Come on, girl. Jog on the spot.
Red.
Forward.
Yellow.
Regina trying to kill me today.
Blue. Green. Blue. Red. Yellow.
So yeah, what that does, like I said,
yes.
agility drills are usually a lot of fun. You'd run that for like 30 to 40 seconds, sometimes a minute. It depends on where you're at in terms of your cardiovascular fitness. You can use a lot of drills as well. It can set us up a little differently to imitate a lot of drills, so it will go in front of each other.
You know, there's some bending you're doing there. You know, of course, once the knees can support you.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. This is also good to strengthen your knees in actuality. So if you were, I mean, barring that you have any kind of injury or stuff like that,
yes,
then you would not start with this. However, if you're, you know, physically sound, then you're good. So you have, with the ladder drill, you can go straight through each leg.
Oh, I like
or you
that
can go
one.
from the side, forward and back. So one.
Oh, I like this one.
And this way, what we do to the right, you do to the left. Which really imitates the ladder drills and the agility.
I like that one. And you know, you're really working the heart, and you're also working the legs as you go there too.
Exactly. So you're raising your heart rate. You got to change the direction. So like I said, it's not as linear as just being on a bicycle or just running. You have different elements you can add. Because the cones are malleable, I can put them in different directions. I can do a zigzag. I can make a circle, a diamond. Anything is possible with these cones.
Throwing you out of breath?
No, not out of breath. Not out of breath today.
No,
Virginia
yeah.
just tried to kill me just now.
All right. So we can do all the cones are really good for helping us to measure and to keep us focused, I suppose.
Yes, most definitely. So with there is a mental aspect to it as well in terms of calling number, kind of remembering and pushing to cone at each time, because you can call them at any random number. Usually, unlike what Regina did to me today, I like to call either in order from left to right or from right to left, and then I get into mixing up the colors for the beginners. But Regina could do that today as a pro.
Regina hurt him now. Go ahead, Regina.
And I can run and touch the orange and come back. So Pearson, we can get you to do these cones, man. I think the people want to see you do the cones.
But you see, because I am over here and you're over there, and I'm hooked to a cord, I can't do that. unless they ask me very nicely in my ear to come over. I'll wait for them to do that.
we were not aware that you were hooked to a cord. I did not know you were a phone person.
Right. So tell you what,
for
Thorn.
next week, most definitely, I'm sure that the public wants to see you exercise and get up and move. They've been telling me that.
They've asked me to, Thorn.
But people love to see you move. Every time they see me at Sheraton in town, they're like, "When you get Pearson to get out of this chair."
So tell you what, you take it. I'll join you over there in a couple minutes. All right? Seriously, you go ahead. I'm coming over.
So sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Regina. So another one we're gonna do. We can switch it to zigzag. Changing the direction. I'll jog on the spot, and you call the numbers again fresh. I'm jogging. It's colors. Thank you. Yeah.
Red. Yellow.
Regina gave me no time.
Green. Green. Blue. Red. Green. Yellow. Blue. Green. Yellow. Red. Red.
All right. All right, good. We got Pearson here with us this morning. I just jumped in. Welcome. You should be nice and warm, Pearson, if you jump across.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
All right.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so we can start you with something simple, Pearson.
Thorn, do I have to do that part?
Yeah, just try. Just try. It's all about trying. That's what fitness is all about. It's all about trying. So we can put you in the center here.
You explain first before you move.
I will call a color.
Yes.
And you will shuffle to the color.
Right.
And back to center.
Okay.
You don't got to sprint like me.
Okay.
I just want you to shuffle, and back. Forward, and back. But I got to call the color.
Okay.
All right.
That's easy to do.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready to shuffle.
All right, go. Start shuffling. Start jogging on this ball. Purple.
Wait, what's purple?
Yeah. Red.
Red.
There we go. Blue.
Oh, that's easy, Thorn. Come on, give me something challenging.
Yellow.
Thorn, challenging.
Blue.
Challenging.
Red. Green.
Listen.
Yellow.
Slow it down, man.
You say you want challenging. Blue. Green.
Over here.
There you go. Back to center.
Yes.
Red.
Mm-hmm.
Red.
Mm-hmm.
Red.
Uh-huh.
Red.
Listen.
So guys, that's generally how it goes across the board. You know, like I said, you can have a lot of fun with these type of exercises. I do really enjoy setting up the cones to make various shapes and stuff like that. It can get super interesting. You can make it super long. You can make it super short. It's just a lot of fun to do.
You know what's hurting right now?
What's that?
My legs. For real. My legs. Fortunately, the studio is cool enough that I'm not perspiring.
Oh, most definitely. That's...
But you know, the whole idea though, as we pick up our intensity, that we will break a sweat.
Oh, definitely. So like this, like I said, because of how like volatile this is in terms of being able to change, you can even add like a weighted vest to this if you want to get really into it. You know, maybe add some dumbbells on the spot. You could be here squatting with the dumbbells down, forward and back, squatting again, forward and back, that kind of thing.
So I would have been working, as they say, my laterals.
Exactly, go from side to side, forward. So in a sense, there's sometimes where you even put the cone behind a person. So that's your starting point, and you know you got to remember that the cone behind you is orange. So you dash back to the orange or dash forward to the red. So it's kind of like using your memory at the same time to remember where things are located.
Oh, nice. I like this. I really like this. We could make a whole fitness routine out of this.
Most definitely.
Because we're working the heart rate. So what's the word? Aerobic. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're working the legs as we go, and as you said, we can include the dumbbells. So we're working the arms and the upper core part of it, but I'm not working the stomach.
You get to that after. Like I said, before people kind of feel the only way to see your abs is from doing sit-ups and crunches and stuff like that, and where that does have its value, you will not see your abs until you've dropped your fat percentage.
Okay.
I dropped off a little water. And what was required for you to do that is maybe some longer aerobic activity or some high-intensity activity, where you're going to end up burning fat or you're going to end up losing water.
So you're saying I have to reduce this stomach of mine, I have to reduce water?
Water and fat. So
you're not talking about water consumption.
No. I'm talking about water weight.
Retention.
Yeah, okay. Water weight. So your abdominals are always there. How much they're defined, how big they are is defined by how much intensity you put in. So let's say if you do sit-ups with weights, if you do like leg raises and stuff like that, that will make the muscle a little more dense, a little bigger. However, if you do not lose enough fat and enough water weight, you will not be able to see them. All right.
Okay. So I have a lot to do to see them, as you claim.
In order for that to be seen, yeah.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Sorry, we're out of time. That clock on the wall tells me something totally different. But folks, califit246@gmail.com.
At gmail.com, califit246 at Instagram and Facebook. And keep sending your questions, guys. We'll answer them here every Tuesday. And we can get Pearson on the ladder next week. Right, Pearson?
Ladder, as in a typical ladder?
An agility ladder.
Yeah,
here. We can get you on that ladder next week.
No problem. I can do that.
And make sure I ask you in front of everybody.
Yes, I can do that next week, ladies and gentlemen. That's all right. Thank you as usual, Thorne. Great to see you again.
Yeah.
That's it for today, everybody. We want to thank you as always for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care now and bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.
Like it, Justin.